Hello, Kim here. Today we're going to try and get through the final two plaintiff statements in the civil lawsuit against Tim Ballard that was filed by the 5 women. So the first one I'm going to talk about today is DS. Her statement is very much like the others for the most part. Had the FM code word, signed an NDA, and had never received a copy of it. But there was a lot more towards I know that not all of the women were LDS, but most of them were. And with things that were said to DS by Tim Ballard, I'm making the assumption, notice I said I am making the assumption, that she is LDS, and he was playing really hard on that to manipulate her in ways. She says there were times that, he would touch her all over, trying to get a feeling. He would touch her in sexual ways, trying to get a feeling. And then there were times he was trying really hard to turn her on. And then there were other times he would tell her, if anything happens to Catherine, who is his wife, if anything happens to Catherine, I would marry you. And he also said, not only to her, but to a lot of the other plaintiffs, I think we've been married in a past life. Don't you get that feeling that we've been married to in a past life? Just really playing upon some of the religious upbringings they've had. And then she said that she had been on an op with him in Budapest. And while she was on that op, she broke her foot. So she hurt herself there. She was not able to go on an op for a while her foot healed. And then she talks about there was an op she was on after that in Mexico. And the op was ending. And it was kind of a rush to get out of Mexico. And she was at the safe house with, I forget if it was Cooper, but it was with somebody else. And they're at the house waiting for Tim and the other parts of the team to show up, and the other parts of the team went to the airport. And then one of the guys went, oh, I left something at the safe house. We need to turn around and go back there and get it. If that person hadn't forgotten something at the safe house, DS and the other members of the team that were there would have been left there. That's how inconsiderate about his team members Tim Ballard is. I'm sorry, he's just really showing in this statement and the next statement, he's really showing what an inconsiderate, self-absorbed, I'm sorry, POS he is. Tim also told DS that he'd had a previous partner who had kissed him on the lips. And because of that, he had to quit using her as a partner. Well, that's really interesting because in another witness statement or plaintiff statement, he had said that DS was the one who had kissed him on the lips, and because of that, he had to drop her. So Tim can't keep his story straight. He is showing how much he does not care about these women. In fact, when DS had asked him about, if Catherine knew about the couple's ruse and if Catherine knew that DS was his partner, and he goes, Oh yeah, Catherine knows all about her. She may not know the details because she's such a saint and she's okay with what I do. But yeah, she thinks, you need to start thinking celestially, and she suggested I use you for my partner. And then when DS is at a screening for Sounds of Freedom, Tim Ballard's movie, she ran into Catherine, and Catherine just kind of gave her a look, and she's like, who are you? And she's like, don't you remember? I'm the one who cut Tim's hair. I came to your house and cut Tim's hair. And she's just like, oh. Had no idea who she was. Really let DS know with that look that she had no idea who she was. She would never have suggested her for an op or a celestial wife. So that's that one. I'm only gonna read part of the next plaintiff's statement because it's a long statement, but there's a lot of it that you really need to hear. And her story alone is going to show you a lot about Tim Ballard and how he felt he was untouchable. It's, a lot of the same stuff. The FM code word, we knew each other, we were married in a past life. Oh, if anything happened to Catherine, I would marry you. I had to get rid of my last partner because she kissed me on the lips, which is a no-no for the ruse. So just a lot of stuff that let me get to where I want to start this statement, because I'm going to read it to you the way she wrote it. Because I don't want to mess it up, and I don't want that's where I stopped. Okay. So she was at a screening for Sounds of Freedom. And while she was there, she was hanging out with CL, who was an operative. And there were other members of OUR who were there at the screening and were trying to talk to her. And HDT was very uncomfortable talking to other people, even like other people of the team, because she's not supposed to tell them anything. There were people who were higher up, like Matt Osborne, that ended up sitting next to her. And she says, I sort of felt the need to be careful about what I was answering. I sort of started dodging his questions, and the him is Matt Osborne. I was feeling very nervous. For one of the contracts I signed, I can't tell anybody about being an operator. Not even anyone else in the company. Not other operators. Nobody. So I'm feeling super nervous. I'm wondering even if it's a test. I'm feeling very uneasy. So I kind of am dodging the questions. I also had been talking to Tim and telling him that I was feeling very unsure about moving forward. I felt like he was not in a very good place, and I was feeling very heavy with him. I felt like he was relying on me for mental stability at that point. And he just kept saying to, like, come to this gala. It's going to be so great. It will be so fun, and let's talk later. And I kind of thought at first that he was setting us up, right? Sorry. I kind of thought at first that he was setting us up right in front to just kind of like woo me and keep me going in this direction. But then I'm sitting next to Diaz, who I feel she is also asking me lots of questions. Like, what kind of training have you done? Have you gone out with Tim yet? And I felt the need to ask her questions. And I said, did you feel it was worth it? Did you feel safe with him? Did you ever feel like you were in awkward situations? She just kept saying, no, no, no. And I don't know if it's because her boyfriend was there, if Dean was listening, or what she was just saying about how it's the best you can trust. Sorry. Or what, but she was just saying how it's the best. You can trust him with your life. Sorry, there should have been a comma in there, and there wasn't. He never put you in a situation you could not get out of. He would put his life in front of you. He promised to always keep me safe. And she said at some point, you're going to have to be uncomfortable, and he would never do anything that he is not supposed to do. I said, okay. In that capacity, it made me think, okay, I think maybe I can move forward. She talked so much about how it was worth it, saving the children. It was so great. Being there gave me some courage to keep going. The gala is done and people are dancing and talking. I decided to go to the bathroom because I feel that I'm in an awkward situation sitting in the middle of Dean and DS. I made my way to the bathroom. I ran into Tim's wife. I had only met her the one time I was there cutting Tim's hair. But I stopped her because Tim said she felt like I should be his operator, and I wanted to talk to her. And I said, hi, do you remember me? I met you while I did Tim's hair, and she seemed very uncomfortable with me. She said, oh, yeah. She was very nice, but it seemed as if it was an uncomfortable situation for her, and she did not seem to know that I was an operator for him. She said, oh, are you still doing Tim's hair? And I said, yes. And she was like, oh, that's great. It's been looking good. She said she was sorry that I didn't like it blonde and that she might have been weird that day. And I said, oh, please don't be sorry. Please don't apologize. I moved on. I figured she didn't mention me being an operator with him because everything is so hush-hush. I figured, excuse me, on the way back from the restroom, I ran into CL in the hall, and also Dean and Matt Osborne. I automatically felt very, very trapped. I felt like they had pulled us out into the hall to ask us questions. They started asking us, like, what kind of training have you done? I just look at CL. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And she's telling them that we had done self-defense. We had gone out with Matt Cooper and done some shooting. They'd tell us, just so you ladies know, if Tim gosh, sorry about this. I do a lot better taking notes and just recapping, but you need to hear this story. If Tim ever takes you to strip clubs, that is not something you should be doing. If you're ever put in a situation that you feel uncomfortable with, You guys need to let us know right away. We have very different options on or opinions on how things should be run. And we would like you guys to let us know if you were ever in any of these situations. Well, a couple of weeks before, we had just been in strip clubs with Tim, so we clearly felt very awkward. I'm a rule follower. I clearly wanted to run away from this conversation. Dean kept looking at me. He knew in my face. I couldn't even speak. Matt Osborne gave CL and I his card and said thank you for sitting by us, and then walked away. We both said we were done with the gala, and when we left, we got in the car. We both felt very uncomfortable, but we weren't sure what was going on. CL and I had met up and drove together, so luckily we were driving back together. Anytime we had gotten together with Tim and Matt, they made us turn off our phones because they didn't want anyone listening to the conversation. Okay, so now on to the really heavy part of HDT's story. So, I had a camera in my house, and Tim would always make me turn that off. So we were even scared to talk in her truck with our phones on. We turned them off so we could talk openly. Before this night, I had never told her anything about my long time with Tim or how I had felt uncomfortable or any of our private conversations. I even showed her my text messages with him. We both talked about how the gala felt very uncomfortable, how some things with him for sure were inappropriate, and that he probably should not be going out on ops. The gala was still going on. I was not going to reach out to Tim, and I was going to wait a day or two to kind of process things. And we both were unsure of where to go or what to do. So I decided and waited a couple of days. Excuse me. Let me skip down a little ways. Because she was talking to Tim and telling him she wasn't comfortable, that she had met with my Osborne. Okay, so here we come to the really meaty part of her statement. Because I think with this portion of her statement, it's not a civil suit she can file the civil suit, but she also needs to be looking at criminal charges as well. So somewhere between the evening of January 7th and early morning January 8th of 2022, Tim Ballard came over to my home. He came over because he needed me to cut his hair. He was going on vacation with his family. I don't remember where they were going, but they were going to be on a cruise for, I believe, a week or two somewhere. He was really nervous about going and being away for that long. He had just done some intense therapy with the military, so he was hoping that he would be good mentally. When he arrived at my house, he seemed very intense and out of sorts. He was pacing in my living room. He looked stressed out. He was a little red in the face, and he started breathing heavy, like he was having a panic attack. I told him to sit down on the couch. I put my hand on his chest and kind of started rubbing it. I told him to just breathe. He started calming down, and I gave him a hug. He pulled me in closer and nuzzled his head to my neck, and he started kissing my neck. I felt like he was in a delicate state, so I was trying to be gentle. I told him, Tim, you're okay. It's okay. He said, no, this is what I want. I said, no, it's not what you want. This is not what you want. I stood up and sat on the couch on the other side of him. He came over and kneeled in front of me and asked me if I believed if we came back reincarnated as other people in different times. I told him that I had never thought about that before. He said he did. He believed that he and I had been married in a different life. That is why he was so physically attracted to me and emotionally attracted to me. He asked me if Catherine had ever died or if they were to ever get divorced, if I thought we would get married. I wasn't really saying anything. I was in shock and a little bit nervous about what he was saying to me and what state he was in. I asked him what was going on and what was going on in his head. He was still kneeling in front of me and pulled me closer. He put his hands underneath my shirt in the back and started to pull off my shirt. About a month before, I had had a boob job. So I told him, stop, Tim, that hurts. He said, I'll be careful. I still did not have a lot of strength. I was nervous. I didn't want to hurt myself, but I did not want him to hurt me either. I was really nervous about the situation for many reasons. I was trembling. I asked him multiple times to stop. He kept saying to me, just trust me. You can trust me right now. All I could think was to just stop and asking him, what's going on? And he still had his hands underneath my shirt and pulled it off the top of my head. He said, I just want to see. I just want to see. At this point, he unclipped the back of my bra. My bra. I'm trying to get off the couch, and I told him that it was hurting me. I wanted to get up. He was standing over me, so I'm having a hard time standing up. I turn over on my stomach and finally stand up. As I'm standing up, he takes off his shirt and he grabs me and he just hugs me. He said, I just need to feel you. And it says F-I-L-L. I just need to feel you. I just need to be skin to skin. I'm honestly terrified. I'm not sure what to do. I felt scared. Nervous. I said, Tim, this isn't you. He yelled a little bit and he said, I don't even know who I am. Nothing feels like me, so I don't even know who I am. Nothing feels like me, so I just keep saying, Tim, you're okay, you're okay. I kind of tried to back away as I was saying that. I thought maybe he was going to put his shirt on again, but instead he started following me. I started walking towards my front door, still with my shirt and bra off. He started telling me he knows that I want him. He knows that I can feel it too. He starts undoing his pants and he takes off his belt. I'm backing up against my stairs. And before I can even get a few steps up, he grabs me and pushes himself on top of me. I'm laying against the stairs. He pulls down his pants he pulls down my pants to maybe my knees or calves. I squeezed my legs together so she couldn't get them off anymore. It says she, but I'm sure HDT means he can't get them off anymore. or open my legs more. I don't remember if his pants were all the way off or just halfway down. He starts grinding on me. I just remember squeezing my legs so tight. I felt very trapped. I tried to get him to look me in the face. He wouldn't. He just kept almost talking to himself, like he was talking himself into whatever mad state he was in. Finally, when he did look me in the face, I said, "Tim, you don't want to do this. Please, Tim." He stood up and zipped his pants up. Up grabbed his shirt and walked out my front door. I'm not even sure at first. I thought that I was sexually assaulted. I think I felt bad for him. I remember wondering if I just had an affair. I remember thinking, what did I do wrong? What was I doing to make him think I wanted him? I started questioning myself if it even happened. I started feeling really sick. And that's all the further I'm going to read her story, because there's not a whole lot more here of hers, but it just goes to show you how Tim Ballard, he really believed, he told WW, I'm a big deal. And he obviously, we see with what he did to HDT, he really did think he was a big deal. He's in the business of trying to save trafficked women and children, and yet he does this to women. It's just wrong. If you ask me, it's just all wrong. Now, I am going to say this because I'm not trying to make anybody make one statement or decision about Tim Ballard or the other. We have to wait until everything comes out. Everything. Probably in a trial. And at that point, the jury has to have an open mind. If they've listened to this stuff, they need to figure out what it is that's the truth and what has really transpired. So, that's the last of the statements for the 5 women. I am going to try and do the couple that filed suit against Tim Ballard. I guess the couple, it's a couple, they were married. I guess their marriage is now on the rocks. It doesn't sound too good, but we'll dig deeper into that one. And then we'll look at the things with Russell Brunson, Elder Ballard, the LDS Church, other, I'm going to say celebrities or well-known people that associated with Tim Ballard. But this is it for the plaintiff statements. Okay? We'll see you later. Thanks. Bye.